We're finally down to the last two teams in the playoffs, and it's going to be the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers in this year's Stanley Cup Final. If you didn't watch my prediction videos from last series, I went 1 for 2 in my predictions. I predicted the Dallas Stars in 6 and the Florida Panthers in 6. Obviously, the Dallas Stars got knocked off by the Oilers, so that one was wrong, but my one with the Florida Panthers was dead on. So much like those other videos, I'm going to give an overview of the teams, my thoughts on the teams, and then I'm going to dive in and give you my prediction of who I think is going to win the Stanley Cup Final this year. But before I get into that, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I do a boatload of hockey content. I drop shorts every single day, keeping you up to date with everything that goes on in the NHL. And leave a like if you could, because it really helps me out. Now, let's dive into the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers are a very well-coached, hard-nosed team that like to drive the net and cause chaos wherever they go. The Florida Panthers have a very good group of people. They may not have that top superstar like Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, but they are very good all throughout the lineup. Matthew Tkachuk is a key player for them, and he's very good. He's a very good power forward. He causes chaos and gets a boatload of points. Something that's been very underrated for them is their defensive depth that they have on their blue line. Their pairings of Ekblad and Gustav Forsling, and then Mikkola and Montour have been absolutely amazing. And this year, Sergei Bobrovsky has been very solid as well when he's been called upon in net. They really shut down the New York Rangers, who were a high-skill team and had a lot of top-end talent, and shut them down completely last series, which is something I think that they could potentially do again to the Oilers. But let's go ahead and look at the stats for the Florida Panthers. Through 17 games this year, Matthew Tkachuk leads the team with 19 points, which is good for 5 goals and 14 assists. Carter Verhaeghe leads the team in goals with 9 goals. But when you look down their point leaderboard, you see a bunch of players all around each other, all giving a lot of contributions to the team, which is something that's very vital. Having that depth all throughout your lineup is what good teams use to win the cup. When the first line can't get going, you got to rely on those bottom 3 lines to keep it going and keep the offense going whenever the first one's down. Let's go ahead and change it up and go and look at their goaltending now. Sergei Bobrovsky's played all 17 games in the playoffs this year for him. He's a 220 goals against average and a 908 save percentage. That might not sound amazing, but he's been very good for them in the games he's played, and he's made all the saves that you need him to make. This is something that I think that the Oilers might struggle with again. I predicted last series that Jake Oettinger was going to beat out Stuart Skinner for the best goalie in the series, but obviously that didn't happen. But while I'm talking about them, let's go ahead and switch over and look at the Edmonton Oilers stats so far through the playoffs. So far, through 18 games played, Connor McDavid leads the team with 31 points, good for 26 assists and 5 goals. Zach Hyman leads the playoffs and the team in goals with 14. He's been amazing this year and is almost nearing 70 goals between the regular season and the postseason combined, which is amazing. If you go ahead and look at their point leaderboard, you see a bunch of people up there. Leon Draisaitl has 28 points, Evan Bouchard has 27, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has 20. Everyone's contributing a ton, and that top-end talent's really driving this team forward, and has a lot of people thinking that this could be their year. Let's go ahead and look at their goaltending now. Calvin Pickard hasn't played since the second round, so I'm not really going to look too hard at him, but let's go ahead and look at Stuart Skinner. Through the 16 games that he's played, he has 11 wins, 5 losses, and has a 250 goals against average and an 897 save percentage. Skinner was a major reason for their struggles in the first 2 rounds, but they've persevered, and now they're in the Stanley Cup Final. I honestly do think he's looked much better since when they put him back in at the end of the second round against the Vancouver Canucks. But because of his history, there's still a lot of question marks revolving around him, and I think that's something that still could come back and bite the Oilers in the back. So when we look at these two teams, we have the Florida Panthers, who are hard-nosed, hard-checking. They do everything right that you want a hockey team to do. And then you have the Edmonton Oilers. They have a ton of high-end talent, but lack depth where it counts. The Oilers' defensive depth isn't as good as the Panthers is, but they do have some other things with a very high-scoring defenseman such as Evan Bouchard. If I have to make my official prediction, I predict that the Florida Panthers are going to win this series in 6 games. Florida is just amazing at a bunch of the little small things that you want your hockey team to do. While the Oilers are also very good in many different areas, they're also very flawed, and that's something that the Florida Panthers are very good at masking. They hide their flaws very well, and it's something that I don't think the Oilers are going to be able to take advantage of. I really think this could be the series where Stuart Skinner falls apart. The Florida Panthers really like to crash the blue paint. Haha, get it, it's my name. And they really like to go hard at the goalies, and I think that's something that can really throw Skinner off his game and could potentially get him back in a bad headspace. but obviously I could be wrong. I want to know your predictions in the comments below, so let me know what your prediction is in the comments below, and make sure you drop a like on the video because it really does help me out and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.